Hey guys, Corey here with Gotta Be Mobile. Today we're taking a look at a couple tablets. We're going to quickly compare them on video for you to have a kind of a better understanding on kind of what to expect if you're looking to purchase a new Android tablet. So what we have is a LG G Pad 8.3 versus a Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4. So you can see they're both, not 10, they're not 7 inches, they're kind of an in the middle 8.4, 8.3. So it's kind of a perfect size of portability but not too small. And I mean, as you can see, they're both very similar in size. They both have the very thin, sleek bezels on tops and, of course, the sides. And then another thing is they both just have excellent displays. We have a 1920 by 1200 full HD display here. But then on Samsung, they've really stepped up. The Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4 has a 2560 by 1440 QHD, just almost 2K resolution, and it looks gorgeous. It really does. It's a great display. It looks awesome. And the LG G Pad was one of my favorites, but Samsung's display is just it's really good. You're definitely going to enjoy it, and it's worth kind of the additional price. Now this is $399 out the gate. The G Pad is $349, but it's recently been dropped to $329. But it is available also with 4G LTE from Verizon for $299, which makes the LG G Pad kind of the better buy. Get it for $299 with the same amount of storage and a very similar screen. But before we get into it too much, let's kind of just go over it. The screens are about the same. Samsung here we have a 2.3 gigahertz quad-core processor with 2 gigs of RAM. It's a Snapdragon 800 from Qualcomm. Over here we have a 1.7 quad-core Qualcomm, and it's the Snapdragon 600. So it is slightly slower, but not enough that's going to make a difference. We have 2 gigs of RAM in both, 16 gigabytes of storage in both. Beautiful HD displays. I mean, they both have stereo speakers on the bottom, quality front and rear facing cameras. So there's really a lot going for both LG G Pad 8.3 and the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4. Real quickly here, we're just going to go over it a little bit. We have Android 4.4 KitKat here with Samsung, although you'd never tell because they kind of have this magazine UI that kind of has changed the entire look and feel of stock Android. You can kind of move these around and customize what they call the magazine UI to give you news and sports and Facebook alerts and anything you want kind of right here on your screen. And then I added this Google bar here because for the most part you can't really tell it runs Android unless you get into kind of some of the settings. There's this tiny little Google bar down here, and that is it. So that you can't move that around. You can't add Google Now to it, but I mean obviously Google Now is kind of built in with search for those that want it. But once you slide in here, you'll notice some of the major changes here from Samsung. There's the usual Bluetooth and Wi-Fi information and a couple settings as you scroll through, but everything's kind of divided by tabs up top, which is something Samsung's done as of late. When you go into something like LG, you'll notice that theirs is kind of a more standard layout for Samsung or for Android. But the only problem here with LG versus Samsung is we're on Android 4.2 Jelly Bean here versus 4.4. Now this was released with 4.2 right before KitKat came out. So I mean they could have had 4.3, but I mean it definitely needs an update. One should be coming. For the most part, LG hasn't been the best when it comes to software updates. They're not the quickest. So hopefully an update to KitKat is coming soon for the LG G Pad. Otherwise Samsung's definitely winning here because it's got Android 4.4.2 KitKat already on it out of the box. So definitely a nice change of pace. You also see the on-screen buttons versus the dedicated menu button and dedicated home button, and then you have some multitasking here like we're used to with Android, but kind of Samsung's changed that. Push and hold that over here to kind of access the same menu. But enough of that, let's go really quickly around both display devices and just kind of give you a rundown. One thing here, LG has this knock-on feature. You double tap to quickly turn it on. Very nice. It seems kind of like a small thing, but it's very handy and helpful for a tablet. But go ahead and come to the side. Both of them have power buttons on the sides and volume rockers up and down. But let me just go over them one at a time here. We have power, volume up and down. As you come over here to the bottom side, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack up top. We have a micro SD slot for expanding storage, and then an infrared port for a remote control. And then there is a 5 megapixel camera on the rear. dual stereo speakers, and then that micro USB for charging. But it's got a nice aluminum feel. It's a fingerprint magnet, but it feels great in the hands. There is some kind of plastic on the top and bottom, and plastic on the sides that might make it a little easier to hold, so you don't feel like you're going to drop your all aluminum tablet. Then you come over here to Samsung, and we have that faux leather, like plastic wannabe leather design from the Galaxy Note 3. We have an 8 megapixel camera and a 2 megapixel front facing camera. And then we also have this micro SD slot here. We have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. We rip around to the other side. We have the power, volume up and down, and then an infrared port as well. So both of these can double as a remote control for your television. Then down here we have the stereo speakers as well and the charging port. So there's not a lot going on here. They're both very similar with features, options, and layouts. The only thing when it kind of breaks down is Samsung's got a slightly better display, it's got a faster processor and a better camera, and the latest version of Android. So you put that all kind of in its perspective, the Galaxy Tab Pro probably offers a better experience, but it is $399 versus $299 for the LG G Pad from Verizon. But just a quick look here at both of these tablets. They're both, very good competitors for the Nexus 7 and awesome tablets in that kind of mid-size, not too big, not too small. LG G Pad 8.3 versus the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching.